Hi guys, welcome to Full Time Devils. I'm here with Abdullah. Manchester United have beaten Belgrade 1-0 Partizan in that second half. Really did give us a little bit of a worry, but United got the result in the end. Martial with the goal. Abdullah, there's a lot of complaints about it at the minute. What did you make of it?
I thought it was probably our best Europa game this season, which isn't really difficult to beat with any of the games coming up. But I thought comparing it to the Alkmaar game, we took a lot more control of the game. Through the middle of the park, I thought we lost something. We were missing something more, like maybe a Mason Greenwood today. I thought Tony Marshall was coming out to the ball. Marcus was coming out on the left, mainly Coman on the left as well. And we were missing that man up front. But in terms of, our passing, getting into the opposition's half, I thought we'd done a lot better. The bit of play that, Jesse, Marcus and Mata did in the end where, Mata just couldn't find Jesse in the end of that. We've not really seen that sort of pattern of play or sequence on a pitch to break down teams. It's more been hitting teams on the break, and that's the way we're scoring goals. But Brandon Williams today was a positive. We're having a chat about it on the stream. I was saying what impresses me is the fact that at under 18 level, he wasn't one of the clear standout players for me. There was a lot more in there, Jimmy Garner, Mason Greenwood. And, he'd had a couple of decent games, but I remember watching him one game where he gets sent off and he doesn't have the greatest game, and didn't really make much of him. But the best game that I've watched of him is for the first team, and that impresses me, the fact that he stepped up from
He
that
made
level.
the penalty, he was getting forward a lot, helped us out when we were under the caution.
Tackles in the end were impressive because he wins the ball back, then comfortably plays, the ball out. One thing that that's always been so keen on him when he gets on the ball is the fact that he keeps it in such a composed way. Comes on the inside, does that quite well. I was worried about him taking his man on, being more of a complete fullback. But today, I think he showed everything you want from a fullback, and hopefully we see more of him because, it's took me by surprise in terms of the way he stepped up. I thought Jimmy Garner and those players would be sort of the star players to come into the side, but he stepped up today, and Luke Shaw's got to look over his back because his performances weren't the greatest before he got injured.
Shaw should definitely be worried now. Paul Scholes said, when you play football like that, it's not enjoyable. Do you understand some of the complaints around the performance today? Were you unhappy with the performance today?
I do, but I think Paul Scholes would know as well when you go into certain cup games, because this is almost considered like a League Cup game for us. It's not a Champions League game, so
that is definitely not. It's a Europa League game.
It's a Europa League game, but you're going to rotate your sides.
Should that affect the way we play though? Should the way we play be a universal thing regardless of who is out on the pitch? Should it be a style that a team has rather than a player has?
I do agree in terms of the fact that the way we play, there isn't really a style that you can point your finger on. But I'm talking as a general performance today. I think it might be a bit harsh of him just to say, oh, it looks horrible. Because we did create chances today. That's the difference. If you said that after Alkmaar, I completely agree with you. I think that was a disappointing performance, probably our worst of the season, in my opinion. Shocking all round, but up there with that Newcastle one, the Alkmaar one, there was no structure to the way we're playing. But I think this and the Newcastle game, I can see certain parts of our game where the front three that are pressing are winning back in a certain way. The back five look a bit more structured. There's a bit more structure to the side compared to what we have before. Maybe this is what fits what Ollie wants more.
He played a back five in the first half,
or
back three, and then in the second half we went to a back four, and we seemed to sit back a lot. We made a substitution. Do you think that we'll start seeing the back three more often now?
I think you need to find the balance in between those sides. Recently, I was watching RB Leipzig and looking at them, they were rotating between a back three and a back four in game. And the game that I watched them against Bayern completely turned on its head when they switched back to a back four in the second half because it suited them a bit more. And I seen that with Spurs a lot last season. That's why they were successful under Poch. That tactical flexibility to be able to switch from back three to four. And it confuses teams. And sometimes you want your flying wing back. Sometimes you want to be a bit more reserved. And it gives you that. And I don't know if Ollie has that tactical flexibility, but today showed that change in both halves. I thought we were quite decent in patches, especially the first half. I thought we were a lot better. The second half, for 30 minutes, I think we were disappointing, and then we took 10-15 minutes where, like that Mata chance, Jesse Marcus combining. There was a couple of times where Dan James should have played the ball to break on them, Marcus should have played the ball, but we're getting in those positions which I didn't see against Astana and Alkmaar. So if I'm talking purely on Europa and recent performances, I don't think it was the worst performance, and I think Alkmaar might have drawn against Partizan in the group. So,
And we're 7 points out of 9, top of the group. Job done almost with 2 home games to go, or would you not take it for granted yet?
I'd say job done, because at Astana, like, for how bad we were at home, we were always going to break them. I think it's just we never had that passing behind them, but they were a very poor side, and 5 goals they've conceded tonight against Alkmaar. I'd expect United to go and beat Astana, and that should be job done. I think our next, is it Partizan at home we got next? So we get that out of the way. You know, if we even get a draw in that and then beat, you know, Astana, we should be fine. But even if we end up losing against Alkmaar in the end, we just need to get those 4 points out of the next 2 games. And if we rotate heavily like now and give the likes of Garner 90 minutes, try and get him a bit more minutes, because I'm liking what I'm seeing.
Did you play Garner or Williams against Norwich?
It's a difficult one. Williams, going off Williams' performance today, I'd say yes, but you know, I think maybe give them one more round in Europa, see how they do. Jimmy Garner, I can see a lot in terms of what he can bring that we don't have in midfield. He seems to have this pass that he lets go early to play us out the press, to break, you know, again, break the lines, but you know, play us out the press from opposition as well, which I see Fabinho do really well for Liverpool. You need to have that to your game. You know, he showed his defensive side, but he also showed that pass on the inside, which he has. Matic is too slow. He used to have that in his game. Unfortunately, he's not that guy anymore. And I think Jimmy Garner's got a bit of a situation here where he can actually break into the side. Hopefully he takes opportunities when he gets picked again, because I've seen some quality from him today. At times, misplaced passes or didn't have the best touch. But today, I think in terms of the composure in midfield, to step in, play in Belgrade in a big European away game for them, they would have wanted to beat United today and step up in that ground. I was happy with him.
One last thing, man of the match.
Brandon Williams.
All day long. Let us know what you think. Should Brandon Williams play against Norwich? See you in a bit.